You mentioned the protocol. There is an angle of the video that we've been playing all morning where it shows an officer removing a weapon either from Alex Pretti's waistband or a holster. And he walks away with the weapon before officers start shooting. It appears that Alex Pretti was disarmed. If he was disarmed, is it the protocol to use deadly force?
And that's all part of this investigation. Every video will be analyzed. Everything will be looked at. And that's part of the answers that I can't speak to every single thing that those officers thought, but this happened in seconds. They clearly feared for their lives and took action to defend themselves and the people around them. If you watch that and you listen to those videos, you can hear someone yelling, gun, 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 and those agents and officers reacted to that. So as this investigation goes forward, all of that will be analyzed.
There are a lot of stories this morning.
We have a new video analysis and court filing, and it's showing us something really much more disturbing about how Alex Pretti died. A doctor witnessed federal agents shoot Pretti, who was a protester. Then he saw them count his bullet wounds instead of trying to save his life. And what they saw and what they swore to under oath in court filings could change everything about how we understand what's happening in Minneapolis right now and what's to come next for the rest of us in the United States. And real quick, I'm Lauren Paritra. Please take a moment to subscribe. I currently still have a lead on Katie Miller, the woman married to Stephen Little Bitch Miller, the pale white nationalist from Santa Monica. She's married to him on purpose. She's building a podcast on the backs of kidnapped children, and every sub, every hype, which you can only do on mobile, every comment, like, share is an FU to Katie and Stephen Little Bitch Miller. So back to it. So Alex Pretti spent the pandemic saving lives while the rest of us stayed home and got weirder. And he got his nursing license in 2021, specifically during COVID, to help people. He chose the hardest, most exhausting work at the hardest, most exhausting time possible. And federal agents repaid him that service by shooting him in the back and watching him die. Federal agents counted the bullet holes while he lay there dying. And that's what a doctor says happened after Minneapolis protester Alex Pretti was shot, alleging that ICE officers failed to check a pulse or begin CPR. And this all went down in a sworn declaration. I read it. The physician describes a chaotic, violent scene where medical help was delayed as seconds slipped. The account is now fueling a lawsuit and intensifying scrutiny over federal use of force in Minneapolis and in cities around the country. A court declaration, so you know, is a written statement of facts, something that somebody makes under penalty of perjury, meaning they're basically swearing, taking an oath, swearing it's true, and they can be prosecuted if anything is untrue or if they're lying. It's similar to a testimony given in court, but written down instead of spoken in front of a judge. And this particular declaration comes from a pediatrician in Minneapolis who witnessed the entire incident on January 24th, 2026. And here's what happened. I'm gonna read it. The doctor woke up to screaming and car horns. They looked outside, they saw ICE agents and they saw civilians and they were yelling at each other. One guy was standing by his car yelling at the ICE agents because he objected to them being in the city. He wasn't armed, he wasn't attacking anyone, he was just yelling. Suddenly, an ICE agent shoved him to the ground. Then at least 4 agents pointed their guns at him and shot him 6 or 7 times. The doctor ran outside to help, but the ICE agents wouldn't let them through. They kept asking for a medical license while Alex lay there dying on the ground. Nobody was doing CPR, nobody was helping him. And when they finally let this doctor through, they found the victim had at least 5 gunshot wounds and no pulse. The doctor started CPR and administered that until paramedics arrived. So why is this significant? The declaration is part of a lawsuit against ICE and the Department of Homeland Security. Some people, Susan Tincher, John Feistman, and others are suing ICE. They're suing over ICE's use of force and civil rights violations. We don't know exactly who Susan and John are from this document, but they're the lead plaintiffs and they're representing themselves and others in similar situations here. And the doctor's declaration is critical. This is critical evidence because they're both eyewitnesses, or because he's both an eyewitness and a medical expert. They can testify that the victim wasn't a threat, and that multiple agents shot him repeatedly, and that ICE didn't provide medical care afterwards. And this is exactly the kind of evidence that you need to prove excessive force and civil rights violation. So this is really significant. We're going to get more into it as we go through this. The doctor ends up saying they don't feel safe in their own city anymore and had to leave their apartment. This was the second person shot in Minneapolis in less than a month for just being in the proximity of ICE. So this documentation of what appears to be a fatal shooting by federal agents of someone exercising their First Amendment right to protest, and it's being used now as evidence in this civil rights lawsuit. And I think, honestly, the hardest part for me about this is not even really that Alex got shot, but how they are done treating people like humans. And we knew that they've been doing this in the detention centers. We knew that they've been disappearing our neighbors into internment camps, and that they've been living through inhumane conditions, and many folks have died. Watching it in real time, in watching Alex as he was already on the ground, they shot him multiple times. He was already on his back, and they shot him in the back, and they left him to die on the ground, knowing that no one's helping him. So Alex's last moments, no one was helping him. And after these pigs shot him 6-7 times, they stood around counting bullet holes instead of trying to save him. None of them checked for a pulse or started CPR. A doctor had to beg to get through while he was lying there bleeding out. These pigs were calm enough to count wounds and coordinated enough to block medical care. And this is not the first time they've done this. This is what they did in Renee Nicole Good's death and execution too. These Gestapo demanded this doctor show a medical license while Alex was laying there dying. They patted down this doctor for weapons, prioritizing control over saving this man's life. Alex Pretti was an ICU nurse. He would have known exactly what medical care he needed, and no one was providing it. These agents were calm and organized enough to count wounds, to block access once again, and to question credentials. They didn't care if he lived. Every second without CPR reduced his chance of survival, and they let those seconds pass. This happened in front of witnesses, on camera, in broad daylight. These monsters do not give a fuck. These agents went through someone's pockets looking for an ID while Alex was laying there dying. They were doing paperwork. They were securing the evidence. They were doing everything except the one thing that mattered, which was trying to save his life. We have plenty of video footage. Doctors, sworn testimony now. We have witnesses. It doesn't matter. After the first execution, that should have been it. Full stop. But less than a month later, they're killing again. We've had 2 public executions in 30 days. This is a militia. Armed federal agents with military weapons of war and military tactics are occupying US cities and shooting and executing civilians in broad daylight. They're operating with total impunity. They know that they can shoot and delay care, and they know the system will justify it afterwards. Look at these fucking Republicans. If you can speak up, if you film, if you protest, if you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time, you just dropped your kid off at school, you could be next. ICE shouldn't exist in the first place. Let me be so clear about that. ICE should not exist. We've watched people die now. We've watched people get executed on camera. We know that people have been dying in detention centers. We've watched them disappear our neighbors. We've heard the cries. We've seen those videos. And every expansion of power, every abuse, we're letting that happen. Every time we say, well, they're just deporting cartel, they're just doing this, it's complicated. We're doing the groundwork for them. This man was an ICU nurse. Nurses and physicians are some of the smartest fucking people I know. They could have been CEOs. They could have been fucking billionaires. They could have done anything. They are the smartest people I know, but they chose to use their talents and dedicate their lives to helping other people. And ICE chose to dedicate their lives to terrorizing people, beating the shit out of them. 5-year-olds, abuelas, protesters, nurses, peaceful mothers, and they're letting them die in the street without any dignity. I can't imagine ever seeing somebody die. I can't imagine ever being responsible for that and then losing all sense of fucking humanity. But these Gestapo did it, and they stood around counting bullet holes and went home like it was just another day. They've turned neighborhoods into war zones. Each execution, at this point, it's a test. How far can we go? And when nobody stops them, that answer becomes as far as they fucking want. They've deployed tear gas on the crowd that gathered, tear gas that seeped into the doctor's apartment and forced them to flee their own home. They're executing protesters, they're executing mothers, they're making entire neighborhoods uninhabitable. They're using chemical weapons of war against American civilians on American soil. So fuck all these people who stay silent. Fuck everyone who can't speak up until the pain arrives at their door, inevitably. Which it inevitably will. No one is fucking safe. No one is safe. When federal agents can execute somebody for yelling and face zero consequences, every single one of us is vulnerable. Every single fucking one of us. Every person who says, well, they did what do they expect protesting ICE, is telling you exactly who these motherfuckers will side with when it happens to them, when it happens to you. When it's your kid filming, when it's your neighbor yelling, when you're in the wrong place at the wrong time because you just dropped your kid off at school. I don't wish that on anyone. This is why I do the work that I've done. This is why I put my career on hold to dedicate my time to this, because silence is complacent. And if we don't document what's happening, if we don't speak up now with all we've got, then there won't be anyone left to speak up when they come for the rest of us, because they fucking will. Abolish ICE. And please take a moment, again, I'm Lauren Peritro, please take a moment to subscribe so we can continue beating Katie Miller in subscriber count. That is one small vindictive way that we can say fuck you to the Millers every single day. And we can't do that without each other. So subscribe, share this video. Let me know in the comment section what you want to talk about next. I do this for you guys, and continue speaking up, share this video, share resources, abolish ICE.